Mr. Brzezinski is going to go through these. Unless there's an objection, we'll just do one vote. We'll do a consensus for all 5. So we'll plan on doing that, but Mr. Brzezinski, turn it over to Randy's
going to go over this. Basically, all these plans, they're just minor tweaks, except for the one professional learning plan, and that's the one we'll spend just a little bit of time with. We'll have had them all in there. You've seen them. Lots of the dates have changed, and such as that. Mr. Brzezinski?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good evening. All right, so like Joe said, the plans, the things that are highlighted are just very minor changes. For the big one is the professional learning plan, which we received guidance in September from State Ed, and they kind of came out late with that. We already had our plan in place for the 1920 school year. So there wasn't anything really to do at that point. The real big change was this used to be called the professional development plan. And now they're changing it to professional learning. With the, you're not really developing people, you want people doing their own professional learning. So that was a big change. I actually met with Tuesday Mishuk towards the end of the fall last year. And I don't know if she did this for one of her requirements for a class, or if she just wanted to do it, but she actually took our old plan and she did a crosswalk with the new guidance for us. And she brought that back and she had this nice chart and she had a lot of things highlighted. I said, oh, we're in pretty good shape. When I looked at it again this spring, we started working on this, I realized all the things she had highlighted were things we were missing in our plan. The new guidance really changed a whole bunch of different things that were related to this plan. We had a lot of things in there about evaluations of staff, different staff members. This is really more just focused on professional learning opportunities. And there was really no way to take our old plan and just change it to something that would work. We really kind of went to a complete overhaul. We changed this to the point where it really focuses on not only teachers and teaching assistants, but also the administrative team, what professional learning we're going to be involved in and doing. Since we were doing this major change, we also thought this might be a good opportunity to kind of streamline some of our focus here in our district. We had the Professional Development Council, we had the Balanced Instruction Committee, and we had the District Technology Committee. All 3 of those things are very close together and kind of just, work together nicely. I think it was good that we had them separate for a couple of years now, but we're seeing that some of the same people are on all 3 of those committees. We're seeing how intertwined the different focus of those committees are. So at this point, the Professional Learning Committee or Council is going to consist of those 3 groups. We broadened the membership a little bit of the Professional Learning Council. We're going to bring in some people from the Tech Committee. We're going to bring in some other folks. The big thing will be is that there won't be an agenda broken out by those 3 things. It's going to be all those things blended together because they all do go together. So that's the big changes that go along with the professional learning plan. Professional goals process is still the same as it was before. And one of the appendices in this plan is actually the mentoring plan, which is another plan you have in front of you there that Brenda and Nina have worked very hard on. Really no major changes in that either. This plan will get sent to the state. If they have someone up there who's available to look at it, they will compare our plan to the guidance. I think we're going to find out that it's very well aligned with based on the work done by the Professional Development Council. So that's kind of where we are with the plan. This is the big one. This is the one that really changed a lot.
Are there any questions on that? Any questions on any of the other changes that we made to the other plans that are on the agenda here? Yeah, I think most of it is just routine-based changes.
It's appreciated.
I really appreciate Randy putting those together. No, thank you, Randy.
No problem.
Okay, so no objections, and we'll just do those items 5.1.5 through 5.1.9 as a consent. So I'll take a motion then to approve those. Motion by Mrs. Jordan, second by Mrs. Cleveland. Any discussion, further discussion or questions? Gilbert? Aye. Bishop? Aye. Jordan? Aye. Cleveland? Aye. Brusette? Aye. Warren?
Aye.
And that carries 6-0. Next, appointment of Jim, board member for the Genesee Area Healthcare Plan Board.
This is Storm Sentinel. This is our medical coverage for the consortium with Teresa being the main contact and needing backup.
That's good to have representation on that, so motion to approve that recommendation. Motion by Mr. Doucette.
Warren, second.
Mr. Warren, second. Any questions? Gilbert? Aye. Bishop? Aye. Yarden?
Aye.
Cleveland?
Aye.
Rusak?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Okay, that carries 6-0. Next, and this is also in front of you, there were some recommendations to award bids for transportation parts and supplies. And the list in front of you has the lowest bids for the various parts that are needed by the transportation department. I'll take a motion to approve that recommendation. Motion by Mrs. Cleveland. Second by Mrs. Yarden. Any discussion or questions? Gilbert? Aye. Bishop? Aye. Yarden?
Aye.
Cleveland?
Aye.
Rusak?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Mr. Rosen put this here, so thank you. Okay, and then there's also a recommendation to approve bids for custodial supplies, with the list in front of you being below bidders. Recommendation by Anton and the facilities department. Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Gilbert. Second by Mrs. Cleveland. Discussion. Gilbert. Aye. Bishop. Aye. Yarden. Cleveland.
Aye.
Rusak.
Aye.
Warren.
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Another kind of routine item we do here each year is to approve joint bidding for cafeteria supplies with GSD BOCES to reduce our costs there. Motion to approve. Mrs. Yarden.
Warren, second.
Warren. Questions, discussion. Gilbert. Aye. Bishop. Aye. Yarden.
Aye.
Cleveland.
Aye.
Rusak.
Aye.
Warren.
Aye.
Approved 6-0. Okay, discussion on the full board calendar to set the reorganization meeting in July. So we have to have that done by the 15th. In formal discussions, we were thinking possibly getting it done before the 4th to have some time off in July. Sure. Is that feasible?
Teresa, are you on now?
Yes,
Do you need time for any final budgetary items in front of them to process at the end of June 30th? Or can you do it before the 4th?
no, we can do it before the 4th. That would be fine.
Thank you.
So we're thinking Thursday, July 2nd.
Is that because the recommendations usually are get it done within the first 5 days, but you must by 15, so you follow within that. There you go.
Would that work for your schedule, Mrs. Miller? Perfect. Okay. So that way we can have a little time off in July and allow you guys to figure out what the fall's gonna look like before we start probably having a lot of meetings.
It's the monthly meeting will be the 2nd, the committee meeting will be the 6th, the 10th.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I missed the date. What date is the reorg meeting going to be?
We're gonna make a motion to have that on Thursday, July 2nd
Thank you.
at 6 p.m. Does that work for everybody? Okay, so we need to formally make a motion on that. Motion to approve that date. Motion by Mrs. Rusak. Second by Mr. Young. Do you want to make a motion? Any questions? Gilbert? Aye. Bishop? Aye. Yarden? Cleveland?
Aye.
Rusak?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't ask. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that, I just spoke up.
All right, thanks, Mike. Okay, so that carries 6-0.
501.
Oh, you would. I would.
So the one thing with this is give it some thought or have dialogue now, but I'll be bringing to you the board calendar at the reorg. Does the board want to stay on Thursday evenings Does it not work for them? And we don't have to decide this now, but I would need some information from you guys ahead of time for recommendations or for a discussion that night. And you could start earlier if you want. At 6:30, we start to move to 6 o'clock. You know, or we can pick another night of the week. So I'm just throwing that out there because we need to set that for that viewer meeting.
So, yeah. Right.
Is that, but it has to stay within the existing week that it is, right?
No, it doesn't necessarily. No.
I do have conflicts with my Portland board meeting being on the same evening on a Thursday evening, so it's not always, but,
We could do it this.
so
Yeah, we could think about this, you can do it the second week of the month. You're not set to any specific.
Right.
Just one week. You just gotta have one regular meeting, yeah, and the one that's kind of really set for us is the April one.
Yeah. Typically, those do it the third week because some schools have 2 weeks. Aren't you lucky? For the first and third week, so they plan it that third week to cover them.
And I'm normally okay with the Thursday, it's just that it tends to fall on the exact same Thursday as my board meeting.
Would it Tuesday or Wednesday of that same week? Well, give it some thought. Yeah, sure, just, yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I don't want me to be.
No, I was meant to be just.
But if when it's towards the end of the week, I might be like work from home on Friday versus being in Portland. If it's in the middle of the week, it's going to be more difficult for me to drive back and forth.
We can still do the video options.
Yes, I will absolutely need to video in at some point.
All right, well, like I said, we can think about this a little bit between now and the second.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Nope. Unless you want to go another time, but you won't have to.
Yeah.
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Amy's all over that.
Okay, next item, we're almost through this. Again, this is a standard contract we do every year with contracts for the BOCES service. Well, these are,
It's basically saying the contract you put in for in the budget process, that you agreed to, you're signing state
which is all the services we request to send our students there in the various programs to take advantage of. So, motion to approve our BOCES contract for next school year. Motion by Mrs. Cleveland. Second by Mr. Jarden. Any discussion or questions? Gilbert? Bishop? Aye. Jarden?
Aye.
Cleveland?
Aye.
Rusak?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Next is our annual Area 1 BOCES IPA agreement. Just to confirm, this is a technology agreement, it's not the other kind of IPA. Yes.
This is like that cycle of purchasing the technology, especially the student and teacher computers on that cycle.
Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Rusak. Any discussion? Gilbert? Aye. Rusak? Aye. Yarden?
Aye.
Cleveland?
Aye.
Rusak?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Next, we have to approve the special education summer school program. I know this was just recently developed with changing guidelines. This is on.
Yeah, so just to preface what she's going to talk about, you have the plan in front of you. This is Mr. Box, Mr. Brzezinski, Mr. Ortiz for the transportation end of things, lots of consultation with medicals. We've been working with the Department of Health, with Jack Leo, the county administrator, with our attorneys, with our insurance company, looking at all the options, and because this is our most fragile population, and these are the ones that have documented these students that have really regressed significantly during the pandemic. So it's an idea of giving it phasing with the reopening, but it's also very, very important to get every detail. So Michelle, just kind of want to do a quick summary of that before you gave.
Yeah, so like Joe said, we've talked to a lot of people. We've thought a lot about it. It was a tough decision to do this, but it also was something that was very important to our parents. I know that last time I wrote a report, we had about 32 kids that were signed up, or 33 for summer. We had 28 kids that are still coming in-house. 2 would like remote learning to continue, and 2 opted for nothing at this point. There was a couple reasons for that. I do want to thank a bunch of people, I mean, just about everybody, but Donna Patterson is making masks for all the kids so they can have a different mask for every day of the week. And Dana is actually going to come in and help us with training and preparing the training for the staff about how to wear masks and how the illness might look and what we should do in order to cover that. We're hoping we never see a case during this time. The students are going to be able to attend 2 days a week, basically in-house. I am taking the 4 classes and dividing them into basically half, so that there's less than 9 kids in a class at all times. So the kids are not in separate classes. They will have remote learning on the days that they are not here, so it's a hybrid program. The activities that they do at home, I have requested that the teachers are all on board with this, to have the activities be very authentic, not paper pencil tasks, worksheets that parents are going to have to fight their kids to do. We want the parents to be less stressed, the kids to enjoy their summer. So an example might be, if you're going for a drive tonight, what shapes do you see? What colors do you see? How many of these do you see? So that's just one example, but I've asked teachers to make it really something that parents would be doing anyway, and just conversing or reading stories to their kids. The students are all getting toolboxes that we went out and found some materials today, flashcards, dice so that they can take 2 dice and add them together, just crayons. One of the reasons for that is the safety piece. If they have a toolbox and they have materials that they have to use, we can't let another child use those materials unless they're sanitized. So we're basically giving them each a basket to keep to themselves, and that's what they'll use. It included some games and some puzzles. We are going to be teaching not only the IEP goals during the summer, but also something that was important in the guidelines was making sure that kids understand the socialization and distance learning. So how to stay apart from somebody 6 feet. We're actually going to use pool noodles that are about 6 feet long so that kids can see, use a visual to see how far apart they are from another person. So, and they felt that was very important. The safety piece, the staff has to wear masks. The students do not necessarily. We will encourage students to do that. All people will be screened when they come to the building. So the 2 back hallways of the high school will be used for the special education area during the summer. All staff will be wearing masks that go back there. Only summer school or staffing, including janitorial, maintenance, and students of summer school will be allowed in those 2 hallways during summer program. Staff have been asked not to leave the building during the day, such as they have a lunch, they want to run down and get their mail and come back. We've asked them not to do that because we don't want them exposing by going downtown during the day. Once they get here in the day, they're supposed to stay on campus. They aren't allowed to either go into other classrooms. So if Mrs. Bates has a teacher assistant who's friends with somebody in Mrs. Hockaday's room, they can't go into that room and socialize during a break because we don't want the kids interacting, or the people interacting with other classes. Staff, let's see, sanitization will happen daily. There's also going to be a deep clean on Fridays. So the teachers are doing a Zoom conference with all students Friday. They will do some planning on Friday. But for the most part, that part of the building will be empty so that our cleaners can get in there and deep clean it. We are developing a plan on June 30th with Randy and Dana and Derek and I, and also I have an intern from Hammond Sport, Katie Boyer, who's been a godsend this week, getting letters ready and stuff. But we're going to develop a plan for any positive cases, which is a requirement under the guidelines. So we will develop that together, and it might help us with our school year policy plan too. Staff training is going to occur on July 1st. And that'll include all staff, including obviously the nurses, but also our substitutes, because they aren't necessarily here all the time. They'll be trained on hygiene, how to wear a mask, And also we're gonna go over the plan with them for a positive case. The parent meeting, we will have a parent meeting that same afternoon. That'll probably be around 5:30 or 6 so that we can make sure parents can be there via Zoom. And just basically, we're gonna talk to the parents more about the program. I've called every parent the last 3 days and just kind of went over what we're looking at. But that parent meeting will basically go over the plan completely again, and we'll also give them maybe a suggestion that they not take their kids to a big 4th of July party and expose them to a bunch of kids and then bring them to school a couple days later. Not that they can't, I know, but we're going to ask that they be careful with where their kids are during this summer session. So I guess I just wondered if there's any questions.
In these recommendations, these are to do this summer. These were very strict guidelines that were by the Department of Health and State Ed. So, we don't know if it's going to be that way for the fall, but we're giving us a chance to experiment with some things, but because of the population, we're very tight.
And I'll just add, we also have the related service providers. They have to provide a lot of PT, OT, and speech during these. So they are actually being scheduled, thanks to Amy Clark, being scheduled in blocks of time so that somebody who's going into Mrs. Obrachta's class to work with a certain kid, they will do all of Mrs. Obrachta's class at the same time, then go out, wash their hands, do what they need to do, and go back into a different class. So they're not going from one class to another and picking up kids, and it's all been scheduled block-wise.
So our health staff is all on board as far as nurses and our physician. They've kind of looked at it and given it okay.
I talked to Dana and Stacy. Karen and I talked a little bit, but we really hadn't talked about this. We talked about other things, but Dana and Stacy, like we do, think that it's got to happen eventually. And they think that this is the best way to see it as small as we can with a very small population. That's their thing with me. And the other thing is the state ed department is actually saying, I just got something from our attorneys today that says we're taking a chance not giving them any in-person training or in-person services. So either way, I think I feel comfortable with the few kids that we have and keeping them as contained as I possibly can. That's the other thing, is even outside time right now is only going to be in the courtyard and only for summer kids, so that there isn't that exposure again. I'm just trying to limit as much exposure as I can without making kids feel like they're not able to associate and have fun and learn.
Dana stays in regular conversation with Dr. Bramer. We haven't interacted with him yet, but we did have a significant conversation with Darlene Smith at the Department of Health. This whole thing, and she was really much on board.
Darlene Smith was very on board with it and gave me a lot of suggestions.
I'm assuming, Michelle, that there's documentation from a screening perspective and who's going where and who's in what room, so that if there was a potential from a positive or exposure, that there's a line list to be able to go back and.
Yep, the tracing and everything else, yes.
Yes. Yep, there's a lot of documentation. In fact, Antone's crew has to provide documentation and then give it to me as well of any time they've sanitized, what they've used, what they sanitize. All the toys every night that kids play with are to be dumped into a basket. It's a bucket of water with the sanitizing solution in it. And then the maintenance staff will be dumping it in the evening and rinsing it and letting it dry. So.
Have we taken the step to actually proactively test employees, or is that in any of the regulations from a healthcare
Not
perspective?
yet. No, we do the screenings and we do temperature checks. Employees, doing that with students, even getting on the bus, that people are getting on the bus and they're on transport. And then that log that she referred to that the cleaners have, that also is a checklist. So there's nothing they can miss. They have to sign off saying they did this during that time. And the master of those is maintained on a sheet of info. So
So all staff, cleaning, and whatnot, they have to do without screen.
Are we actually temperature checking?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've had nurses on staff every day this summer so far, the 3 months of remote learning. And we have a summer school nurse, but we also train, we've got approval from Department of Health and from our attorneys on training TAs and assistants to be able to do that as well. Because we can't put it on a bus, we can't do those things.
Yeah, screening for students that are riding buses will have to be screened before they get on the bus. And Derek has done a really nice job with his plan for the busing too.
You see the CAD plans and the monitors that are on the bus have to be wiping down the handrails, the seats, and, confirming with the students that they're doing things right. It's not just sitting in a seat. It's very active.
You mentioned our insurance company.
Insurance company is all over. I think it's good.
A lot of great work, Michelle, from the whole team. I know how much work goes into planning.
Well, I'll be honest, I can't do it without my team. Everybody has done a lot to make this happen, so.
Great. All right. Any other questions from Michelle? We'll take a motion then to approve the special education summer school program. Motion by Mrs. Jarman. Second by Mrs. Cleveland. Any further discussion or question?
I just want to add that BOCES wide, they're going virtual. They didn't want to go to the average schools. Many other schools, the larger ones especially, it was just too much for them. Because of the small scale population we have here in the South. So it's fine.
It'll be a good test. Okay, Gilbert. Bishop. Yarden. Cleveland. Rusak. Warren.
Aye.
Carries 6-0. And again, thank you, Michelle, and to you and your team for all the work of getting that together.
Thank you. And if Terry Cartwright's still here, she can mail those letters tomorrow.
There you go, Terry. You see her.
Good.
Will
We
do.
have- Just have a couple of business items next, or financial items on the reserves to actually do the transfer of TRS reserve from the TRS reserve and the unemployment reserve, potentially. Right. This is Teresa, would you like to just kind of go through those real quick? And it was our packet, but I think it's just good for you to highlight it.
Yes, I put them in a memo to you and I included both of them. What we're trying to do is, since we are using more appropriated reserves in the 2021 budget, we may not do the transfers. We're trying to buy supplies that are gonna be getting us further ahead because, like the masks, there's a shortage. So we're trying to get some of those. So this is just trying to get the district so we are ready for next year. We have in the 2021 budget where we had that we can take our money out of the TRS reserve. So this would be backfilling it. And then the unemployment reserve, we're putting money in there because if the governor does cut our aid, that's a reserve that we can easily take money out of. I've checked with our auditor and he suggested that we put it in the unemployment reserve due to the fact that we can pull it out within 6 months. So we're just trying to protect the district for next year.
If there's no objection, I think we could do these together as a consent. A motion to approve the transfer request. Question by Mrs. Jarvis, second by Mrs. Brusack. Any discussion or questions? Gilbert. Aye. Bishop. Aye. Yarden. Cleveland.
Aye.
Brusack.
Aye.
Warren.
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Just a couple of personnel items for tonight. The first, the consent agenda, there's really only one item in there, and that's just
Additional summer school staff and summer workers.
correct. So Motion made to approve the personnel consent. Motion by Mrs. Cleveland. Second by Mr. Giardino. I don't think there's any conflicts in here, correct? Okay. All in favor? Crouch. Sorry. Gilbert. Commissioner. Cleveland. Rusak. Warren.
Aye.
6-0.
Where's the admission? Where is he?
We'll be doing these names.
Yeah.
Okay, non-instructional. We have is this retirement or resignation? Okay, and that is from Cindy Quick as a cleaner. So motion to approve that resignation and retirement as. Motion by Mr. Jarman,
Warren, second.
second by Mr. Warren. Discussion. Gilbert.
I'm just gonna add the city's been also. That type of grandbabies.
Great. Bishop. Aye. Yarden. Cleveland. Rusak. Warren.
Aye.
Carry 6-0. And we really thank Cindy for all of her hard work. We wish her the best. Enjoy her time with her. And then we have permanent appointments. Unless there's objection, we'll use consent. I'll read the names. There are Michael Scrappy as bus monitor and Jennifer Snyder as custodian. They've met the requirements for permanent appointments. Take a motion to approve those recommendations. Motion by Mrs. Cleveland. Second by Mr. Jarman. Discussion. Gilbert. Bishop. Aye. Yarden. Cleveland. Rusak. Warren.
Aye.
That carries 0. And then we have recommended appointment to the support staff of Cindy Tower as a driver, instructor, and substitute bus driver.
If you remember, that's just, well, Derek and Dan are finishing their training, so she's.
So we have to have someone certified.
Yeah.
Did we just talk about it?
We did it last year, but we're just being.
This is, effective July 1st. Motion by Mrs. Cleveland. Second by Mr. Gilbert. Discussion. Gilbert. Bishop. Yarden. Cleveland. Rusak. Warren.
Aye.
Carries 6-0. All right, through the business portion, it's not even 7 o'clock yet. Good job. So, because we're still doing the virtual, we're not able really to do our traditional open agenda for any visitor statements, but if you do have questions or comments on anything that was discussed tonight, please send those to Kelly Ost, our district clerk, and then we'll answer or respond at our next meeting. We'll have to go into an executive session just to discuss updated litigation, but there won't be any action taken after. But before we go into executive, we have some awards to give out to some board members here tonight. First, we have Mr. Michael Warren has achieved the Board Achievement Award. This is given by the New York State School Boards Association, and it recognizes we do a lot of trainings and attend various conferences, and so you accumulate points by how much you do for that, and then you're rewarded various achievement levels. So Mr. Warren has achieved the Board Achievement Award, totaling more than 75 points, and he gets a nice certificate.
Will be free.
Yes, I did wash my hands. So congratulations, Mr. Warren.
Thank you.
Then we have an individual that achieved the Board Mastery Award for getting more than 250 leadership development points. And that goes to Amy Rusak. So Amy, in addition to your certificate, you get a nice little bowling review.
Is that COVID free as well?
Yes. And you also get a 1 complimentary training session.
Wow, I have a ton of time.
So those
Maybe
points,
Jen can make a frame for us.
Yep. So the points do matter. It's not like whose line is it anyway.
So congratulations, Mrs. Zach, great job. And then our last presentation for tonight, those two are retirement board member. Before we get to your award, though, I do really want to thank you, Ken, for your 10 years of service. You've definitely been a dedicated member. You served with integrity. You've never shied away from any tough decisions. And I think what I really respect is that you've always spoken your mind, you acted regardless of what the majority felt. And so I really respect that. And you've done a great job. We're going to miss you. And on behalf of the entire school district, thank you again for your 10 years of service. In addition to that, with all your efforts, you have achieved the Board Lifetime Achievement Award with over 500 points. And this is probably definitely a first, not only for this district, but I got probably in the area. So you received a little pen set, a free ticket to the Lisbon Convention, which does expire in 2021. And you get a nice plaque. We also have a gift for you from the Board of Education. Thank you for your years. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to say?
In the spirit of somebody, since it's on tape, only further comments other than to say, great experience. I welcome the newly elected board member and all of you guys as much joy and fulfillment. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, so we're wrapping up here. Our work here for this school year. Just a couple of thank yous. Thank you to all our retirees. We had a lot this year. We were losing a lot of experience, and I know this is definitely not the way they wanted to end their career, but really just a thank you to all of them for all their years of service. We wish them the best in retirement. We wish the senior class the best of luck. I know, again, I can't imagine what it would be like to lose everything that they've lost, but just appreciate what you have upcoming here in the next few weeks, and again, we wish them the best of luck.
With a great spirit and great heart,
Yes,
and
yeah.
you know, they take that like champs, and it's tough, but I'm really proud of all of them.
I am too. I think the first example I had was as soon as we knew we were closing for that period of time, they were very frustrated. They were very emotional. They had every right to be. Yet they were the first to email me over and over again saying, what can we do? Can we do things? And that's just the selflessness of that class that I'm very proud of.
Of course, thank you all the staff and the administrative integrity department gone above and beyond. And thank you to you guys, the Board of Education, for all your time and efforts this year. Again, I know definitely I don't think people realize, who's going to realize soon how much time gives us to go into this.
Too late, get back on the side.
But it's all volunteer time, and can go out as well. Thank you all. And with that, take the motion to go into the executive session. Motion by Mr. Gilbert. Second by Mr. Jarvin. Any discussion? We will invite Mrs. Narby into executive. All in favor? Gilbert. Commissioner. Aye. Cleveland. Bruzak. Warren.
Aye.
This is 60. And thank you everyone that was online, and we hope you all have a great summer. Thank you. Stop the recording.
Yep. You can end it now, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Huh?
And the recording.
Oh, no, we got to keep right down. End the recording.
End the recording.
Sorry.